is March. New Year's resolutions 2021 are a thing of the past. They are long gone. And let's be honest, we didn't really get a chance to get into the gyms in the first place in order to stop going to the gyms because Netflix and biscuits are a thing and they're brilliant. Anyway, if you want some help in forming some brilliant habits that don't involve you having to eat kale and run marathons every day, get a load of this video. Hello guys, welcome back to another video with the Frontline Fitness department. Hope you're all staying well, safe and you're looking after each other. Running from the 15th to the 22nd of March, Hampshire Constabulary are running a week of action. So it's a bit of a thank you to officers and staff for the work that you do, especially in the difficult times we're in. We're going to be doing a series of videos over at Frontline Fitness around a little bit of mobility, talking about some workout stuff and some other subjects that we think are going to help you throughout this week. Today, we're going to be talking about habit formation. You do not have to go nuts when you're creating a habit, and the exact point of it is that you take small incremental steps, and we're going to get into that. So a habit, in my mind, is entering into a contract with yourself to repeat a particular behaviour over and over and over again to achieve a desired response or slash goal. So not all habits see us towards our goals perfectly. So that's not seeing us towards any sort of decent goal. That is nasty, I'm so sorry. But if we recognise the cues that lead to the habits that see us towards our goals as opposed to the ones that pull us away from them, we are better equipped to achieve what we want to achieve with our life. When we think of habits, sometimes we can think of this lovely linear line that plots upwards, this beautiful diagonal line. Every time we repeat that behaviour, we get much better and much better and much better. It's not always like that, is it? It's more like when you repeat a habit, you don't see progress for so long. It just sits right here at the bottom. Imagine there's a graph here. It sits right at the bottom for ages, and then suddenly we start to see this exponential rise in our ability to be able to do something. If you've ever tried to play an instrument, you suck for ages, but then suddenly you actually start getting better and you're more proficient, able to do things. We can apply this to a degree to exercise and weight loss as two quite common examples. So if we're going to the gym, let's say we're starting to work out a little bit more, we might not see any particular change at the start in our ability to be able to move faster, be able to lift more weights. You might see those newbie gains that some people hear about, but you won't see these significant rises, and you might find you plateau or even just stop being able to progress in any way, shape or form. But continue with that habit and you will start to see a rise in your ability. You'll start to see progress, which will stick you right up to your goal. And you're going to have to think of a new goal to start that whole process over again. In terms of weight loss, you might find that at the very beginning you lose a bit of weight, and it's great because your body doesn't want to sit overweight where it is. You lose a bit of weight and then suddenly you plateau again and you're not losing that weight, and it can become quite demoralising, quite frustrating to be there. But it's at that point we need to look at our habits and what we can do to change those habits, make them better, because we're going to sit at this bottom line and suddenly, once we've been doing that habit for long enough, we'll notice this incremental rise. And So how do we form a habit? A habit will consist of 4 phases typically, which is cue, craving, response and reward. The cue could be an event, a location, the presence of a smell, a sight, a sound or anything like that. It could be perhaps for every time you put the kettle on, you suddenly are primed to go check the cupboard to see what cool biscuits you've got in there, because that's the habit, that's what you've done all the time, right? I'm not saying you can't have a biscuit, I'm not going to demonise them or call them anything naughty, sins and whatever you want to call those things. However, you're primed to go and do that because every time you have a cup of tea, you go and get a couple of biscuits. Quite harmless, unless you're having 6 or 7 cups of tea in a day. I know people who do that, and you're having 2 or 3 or 4 biscuits each time you do it. That's pretty much a packet of biscuits a day, innit? And if you just said to someone, sit down and have a packet of biscuits, without consequence, they do it. But with consequence, maybe they wouldn't so much. Another example, which is probably a bit more common, would be brushing your teeth. We brush our teeth after we've had our breakfast or after we've had our dinner before we go to bed. That's just a habit. Now, we'll talk about the craving. Craving with, let's go back to the biscuit, for example. Wow, good at biscuits. Anyway, got me started again. The cue of having a cup of tea sets you on the path of wanting something you know will give you a reward. In the case of the biscuit, you enjoy the biscuit because it tastes nice, it gives you a little bit of a sugar lift, and it's really quite a pleasurable experience to have that biscuit. 2, 3, 4, 5 biscuits. I'm not going to judge you. For the teeth, there we know that we're going to be left with a fresh feeling mouth. It's nice, we get rid of that fuzz, that horrible, etc, etc. It's a pleasant experience, and we know the long-term effects are that we're going to be having healthier teeth and we're not going to have a mouth like a dry lock flip-flop. So, The response phase rocks up at this point. So we eat the biscuit because we crave it and the behaviour has been completed. Now we've repeated that behaviour so many times it becomes almost an automated response because we've got the cue, I want the biscuit, because of that craving. Then we've got the response, which is I eat the biscuit. Then we get the reward, which is that lovely taste, and then we get that little bit of a sugar rush, whether we notice it too much or not. And then we know from a subconscious level that is a behaviour I enjoy. So the next time you go to get a cup of tea, what's in the cupboard today? Off we go. But the same with the teeth. You should be brushing our teeth every day because we know that it's going to give us that fresh and clean feeling, and it's a pleasurable experience. And then you know that your teeth are going to be healthier as a result of it. Now, you might be prompted, take this as another example, you might be prompted to smoke or vape if you are a smoker or vaper. If you're not, this probably doesn't apply to you. But as an example, every time you come back to the nick, you might be prompted to smoke or vape before you go up and write up any jobs. And it could be that you know that smoking or vaping helps you relax or feel calm or anything like that. I'm not advocating smoking or vaping by any stretch, but I'm also not having a go at anybody that does. You might be prompted to do that because it helps you feel relaxed, and you associate that relaxation with being needed in order to sit down and write up the reports of all the, quite frankly, nasty and stressful jobs that you've been to. So every time we come back to the nick, that location and the presence of us being in the yard is the cue to then set off the craving of I need to relax a bit more. The response is you perform the action, the smoking / vaping. The reward is you perhaps feel more relaxed or you feel a bit calmer, and then you're ready to go and write up the reports. And it becomes an automated habit because it's just what you do each time. If we recognise that cue and say, actually, am I that stressed? Or am I just coming back in for a bit of a break for 5 minutes? You might be able to start breaking that chain of that less than desirable habit that you want. So, how do we set ourselves up best to repeat the behaviours that we want in order to create a lasting habit? We're going to utilise 4 rules for creating behaviour change, which are make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. I'm going to skim over all these, okay? So let's say you want to start running more, you want to do a 5K, but every time you get up to go for a workout, you find that getting everything ready is a bit of a hassle and a chore and you just can't be bothered. So how about this? You're going to work out in the mornings. Before you go to bed, set your workout kit ready. Get your trainers out by the front door. Just get that done, okay? And then when you wake up in the morning, it's one less thing you have to do. Just get out of bed, fall into your workout clothes. You can even go to bed in your workout clothes if you really want. I'm not the boss here, you can do as you please. Commit to getting that kit ready and going out for just 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. If you're using the couch to 5K out, which is a brilliant way to create progressive overload if running is your thing and develop your running from just walking to building up distance. Anyway, getting off topic. Go out for 5 minutes and nothing more. You might find that once you're out for 5 minutes, you're actually going to do another 5 minutes, you're feeling pretty good. But if not, that's okay. Just go out for 5 minutes, come back in, carry on with the rest of your day as you need to do. It's okay. The point is that you're creating these small incremental changes. By going out for those 5 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week, you're making that more attractive and satisfying because you're going to start seeing results and you're going to feel healthier and create movement as a result of it. If you're working out after work, you're not an early bird, make sure you take your gym kit to work. When you finish, change into your workout clothes before you go home. So maybe you go for a run before you even get in the front door. Because if you get in and you sit down and you think, oh, I'll just sit down for a sec, recharge, and you check social media and whoops, there we go, it's 10 o'clock again and I've already consumed an Easter egg. Not quite in line with what we're trying to achieve. But if you take your workout clothes to work and you get changed into them, that's an obstacle done. When you're leaving work, you are ready to go. So if you've got the availability that you can walk straight into your door and get on with your exercise, whether it be drop your kit, go out for a run, put your on-demand service on and have a little dance around your living room to anything from YouTube, an on-demand service, or a 10-minute interval video from Frontline Fitness, just saying. You've removed the obstacle of having to get home, find some clothes, change into them, faff around with all that. You're primed to go. The second you walk in the door, you've got your kit on. If you get home and you really can't be bothered, that's okay. You've got your workout kit on, you're primed, you're set. Maybe you haven't worked out today, but keep creating that habit, keep doing that over and over again, and you will find that I'm in my workout clothes, I'm ready to go, I'm just going to do 5 minutes worth of a workout today. And then that's going to build to 10 minutes and 15 minutes, and you're going to start to create that behaviour change over and over again. So, where so many people go wrong, me included, is they try to change way too many things at once. They've chucked away all the sweet stuff in the cupboards and they're going to only eat spinach and kale and lettuce and leeks and celery, and they're going to run marathons and it's going to be amazing. And if anybody even so much as waves a curly whirly at them, they're going to kick off and someone's getting tasered today. It all goes a bit wrong after a month or two because there's too much change, there's too many things, new things to try and adhere to in your life without you actually having to being able to adhere to it. You're not creating a sustainable change. So if we use the rule of the aggregation of marginal gains by changing one thing 1% at a time and implementing it, we're going to be setting ourselves up for much more success. So if you took, let's say, I'm going to take a banana or an apple, whatever it is, and my sweet snack that I would have. Instead of 2 sweet snacks, I'm going to take my banana and my biscuits into work today. And for my first snack of the day, I'm going to have that banana. And then the second one, I'm still going to have my other sweet snack, that's fine. But instead of having 2 sweet snacks, I'm having a piece of fruit. And then maybe over time, you change it to 2 pieces of fruit. That's making gradual change instead of just binning something off and craving it all day. Now, I'm going to leave you with my absolute favourite example that I can give for 1% aggregation of marginal gains and taking things small steps at a time. Most people, when they come down in the morning, they sit the kettle on for a cup of tea or coffee. If you don't do that, just replace the kettle with whatever you typically do in the kitchen first, okay, wherever possible. Before you go to bed at night, put an empty glass in front of the kettle. Go to bed, snoozy land, absolutely magic. When you wake up in the morning, come downstairs, look at your kettle, go to put it on, think, what tool put that glass in front of the kettle? No, wait, hold on, it's me, disregard. Get your glass, fill it up with water, fill the kettle up with water as much as you need, put it in, turn the kettle on. Now, whilst that kettle's boiling, you haven't really got a lot to do, have you? You're just twiddling your thumbs. So why don't you drink that glass of water, then put your tea/coffee together, and if you drink no other glasses of water throughout the day, you're 1 glass up than you would normally be. Absolute win. That's a 1% change straight away. And over time, you might think, how can I ramp this up a little bit? I'm going to drink a glass of water before I have any tea or coffee, or any time I eat something, a meal or otherwise, I'm going to have half a glass of water or a whole glass of water. And then you're going to start to be more hydrated, feel better, your skin will feel better, your nails, your hair, everything. Absolutely brilliant. Trust me, I've done it. It's a great way to start your day and to start implementing more habits into it. Guys, that's about all I'm going to say for today on the subject. If you want to dive into more depth, you can check out the books, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, or there's another one called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Both phenomenal books, go into such depth about this, and I genuinely think they will change your life if you sit down and actually start to action some of the bits from those books. Any questions, give us a shout over at Frontline Fitness. Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, share this to everybody you can think of. I'm proper needy, just go ahead and do it. This has been just under 15 minutes, that's 1% of your day, and hopefully this has helped you be inspired to create a change. Have a brilliant day, look after each other and stay safe.